up, you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today we have a very special TennoCon 2017 edition of #confirmed, the Plains of Eidolon edition. Now, as you guys know, there were a ton of things to talk about when it comes to TennoCon, so I figured I would break this into chunks and give you some exclusive details that you may have only caught at the con, read through all the published articles, and checked out their corresponding tweets. Alrighty, so let's start off with the demo. Big props to Rebecca for getting through it without a hitch. They had actually found a bug in it earlier that day that would cause the entire thing to crash if she died in the mission, so randomly you'll hear people saying, "Don't die, Rebecca," in the background, and that's exactly why. So we start off in Cetus, which is this instant hub that can hold up to 50 people at once. It's the colony of the Osrons, which is a group of scavengers living off of the remains of an Orokin tower, which apparently is made out of meat? Now, a quick sidebar with you guys. I know that they're saying that they're just selling what they harvest for parts, but do you think that they're eating that shit too? Because those birds sure were, and what kind of side effects would happen with that? Regardless, this leads us back to the main portion of the hub, which of course is the Cetus colony, where we can buy customizations, pick up quests, and create our own unique weapons at Hawk's Anvil. Utilizing resources found in the world, we'll be able to construct unique weapons by choosing one of 6 strikes, which make up the head of the weapon, grips, which determine the handle, and links, which apparently determine their special effects. This of course gives us 216 possible combinations just from what they've shown us in the demo. I love the thought of this, since only adding one extra strike or grip or link gives us 36 new possible combinations. It honestly makes me wonder if they're going to tie the mastery to each individual weapon, or maybe just to each individual component. But that aside, the most important part of the anvil is the fact that we can now name our own weapons. And apparently there will also be some very interesting operator customizations to come, but we will talk about that in a separate video. Now, in addition to that, Rebecca in a recent tweet mentioned the fact that the Cetus market may give them opportunities to work out token systems for rewards, which should help combat RNG. Clearly that is no promise this far out from its actual release, but it's nice to see that it's something they're considering. Moving along, we encounter a quest NPC that will be assigning us tasks to complete as we move out and explore the plains. Personally, I'm more of a just shut up and tell me what to kill kind of guy, but for everyone who is deeply involved in the lore, this is a great way for DE to slip us little bits of history that will help flesh out the world. Now, as we move into the double gates, this is where me and Mogamu had a moment. As we approached the first gate, he literally jabbed me and whispered that this would be open world, and I was like, nah bitch, that ain't gonna happen. After walking through the first gate, he was like, no, this is definitely open world. And again, I was like, you crazy. But then the second gate opened and I was like, this is not reality. What kind of witchcraft bullshit are you pulling, DE? This was open world. Now, just to clarify, the double gates is something that other games have used in the past to disguise loading screens. In this case, the game is literally loading in a 3 km by 3 km instance area for up to 4 players to play in. They have stated that there is potential for expanding it to more players, however, they want to see its live reception before they start making more moves. Now, while this seems absolutely awesome, I tend to look at things from a what could you do with this in the future kind of perspective, and this could potentially mean a lot for Warframe. They'd mentioned that its landscape would include hidden camps and caves. Double doors in those areas could potentially lead to subterranean dungeon crawls or even into other expansive zones with different biospheres. However, putting aside the potential ramifications of future expansion, let's take a look at the here and now. The Plains of Eidolon will feature an expansive zone scattered with the remains of a single sentient. During the day, you'll be able to hunt down Grineer, take out outposts, traverse the landscape with your Arcwings, and most importantly, fish! And I know that sounds stupid, but fishing does grant you resources, which will most likely give you the ability to craft weapons at Hawk's Anvil. One of the bits that I found extremely interesting was that during one of the TennoCon after-party events, I was slipped the fact that they are about 90% complete with the day cycle. This ties into the fact that Steve mentioned their goal was to get this out at the end of the summer, which interestingly enough is right about when Destiny 2 drops. Of course, if we're being realistic, expect delays. With AI and new creatures, there's a lot of Q&A and bug/balance patching that needs to happen first. Moving along to the night cycle, this was really interesting as this is where DE is looking to invest some time in endgame, to the point where they are considering locking out players who haven't progressed far enough into the game. Once the sun sets, even the Grineer scramble to safety as the ghosts of the sentient rise from the lakes of the landscape. One of the things that was mentioned to us at the event is that the trailer did not do the greatest job of showing us exactly how massive these Eidolon would be, with his Angry Joe interview mentioning that these creatures would be about 5 to 7 stories tall. Additionally, in a recent tweet, Steve looked to be leading a copy of the Fantasy around the landscape, who I do believe is about that size, so that should give you a better perspective as to how large these things may end up being. And as we know, Titania is fantastic as taking on Lephantis, so you may just want to start leveling up those arc wings now. So I think one of the big questions is exactly where we'll see this fall in the grand scheme of the game, as our most recent quest, Chains of Hero, required us to complete the second dream, the War Within, and have to clear the star chart all the way up to Mott. Now, DE has made it very clear that this zone will be available to both veteran and new players, with them stating that we would be able to access the plains within the first few hours of gameplay. So that about does it for the Plains of Eidolon edition of #confirmed. Stay tuned for the rest of the TennoCon 2017 installments, including some discussion pieces tossed into the mix. Let me know how you guys are feeling in the comments below. What pieces are you the most excited about? Arcwing and live environments, customizable weapons, massive endgame creatures, killing birds, fishing? Toss those in the comments, and as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!